everyone's got to get into that council, into that horseshoe, and start rolling up their sleeves and saying, okay, let's get to work. When decisions are being deferred and deferred and deferred, maybe we got to start asking the correct questions at the beginning of the conversation so that we are getting those answers at the start so that a decision can be made and let's move forward.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. Well, my guest today on the porch is Stephen Pudwell, a familiar face around town. You have been involved in many things in your life in Medicine Hat. You grew up in Medicine Hat, and now you want to be a city councillor. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've been asked that a few times already. Born and raised in Medicine Hat, raised two lovely daughters in Medicine Hat. And I guess Medicine Hat means a lot to me, and I've been in the business community as everything, service clubs from the Kinsmen since 1998. And then 2 terms as a director on the Chamber of Commerce, and then this final couple of years I've been on the executive and as the president for the Chamber. Now, because I have put my name in for a candidate to be council, I had to resign from that. But it's all good organizations that basically help our community help our community to get some controls and to help.
So you see this as the next step in that evolution of
Yes.
Stephen Pudwell.
Yeah, it's just, I've been building up to this, I guess, all my life. The things about, I've been considering being on council for some time now, and then I just had to do it because I think these next 4 years are critical. We need to have some direction. We need to have some plans made, and we need to, stop the stalling of progress in Medicine Hat.
The last 4 years have been difficult for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who were sitting around the table and those people who were watching on the YouTube channel, watching the events unfold. As you watched the last 4 years, what struck you as being needs fixing?
Of course, communication is going to be a big one. Some leadership roles where everybody's, everyone's got to get into that council, into that horseshoe, and start rolling up their sleeves and saying, okay, let's get to work. When decisions are being deferred and deferred and deferred, maybe we got to start asking the correct questions at the beginning of the conversation so that we are getting those answers at the start so that a decision can be made and let's move forward. Things about City Hall, I do believe that there's some training that needs to be done, some quality and measurements that need to be done, and not just with the frontline workers, but with the management too. So from top to bottom, bottom to top, everyone's got to be starting to speak the same language and work together.
Do you all have to sit around and sing Kumbaya?
I hope not.
So there's room for disagreement.
Of course there is. There's always is. Yeah.
I've said this on some of the other podcasts before, that every civic election that I think I can recall, going back to the 70s when I came to work in Medicine Hat, economic development. That's always been one of the key platforms in every election. And I've said here in the past, if we have to keep talking about it, somebody's not doing it right.
Yeah. Some of the things, like my ideas, maybe not the most popular, but I do believe that what I'll bring is I bring outside thoughts and thinking outside of the box. So the potential of maybe we got to go and look at a concierge type of environment. So when an investor does start looking, we have everybody around that table to answer the questions, from the electrical generation to the, hey, what what do you need to be dug here, or what do we need to take off site? Those kind of ideas. I think sometimes where, working together, so we have the city economic team that's going out and trying to attract new business, new industry. Maybe we put some of our private developers in there so that we now see, that investor will now see the city opportunities plus the private investor opportunities. And the whole idea is to get it from concept to commitment way quicker. So maybe it doesn't work with the city's development plan, but it can work with the private investors' development plan. It's still growth. It's still bringing business to Medicine Hat. So those are important. I think we need to keep a focus on working with our regional partners like Cypress County, 40 Mile, Red Cliff, Bow Island, even into to Brooks and the County Newell region. If we all start talking to potential investors in one group, those opportunities will grow. Medicine Hat will get spin-off if it goes to Cypress County. Medicine Hat will get spin-off if it goes to one of our neighbors. But yes, we do need to focus on Medicine Hat, but we're okay to do some partnerships.
As I listened to some of the forums and they were talking about this very issue, it occurred to me, and I asked myself the question, and I don't know if you know the answer, but has anybody ever done a study to identify the roadblocks?
A lot of the roadblocks, I guess there's studies after studies here. Medicine Hat's pretty famous for studies, especially these last 4 years.
And then they go on the shelf.
There was one, because I've been in Medicine Hat a long time and also been part of the business community, I remember it was just before the election, they came out with a package, I can't remember the exact name, but the riverfront improvement or something.
Waterfront, yeah.
The waterfront improvement. And I looked at that and I went, if I could go find that email or I could go back and find that brochure, I'm pretty sure that was presented in the early 2000s. And they took that program and they blew the dust off of it and updated some graphics and said, hey, look at this shiny new
idea,
things, right?
Yeah.
So those studies are there. Yes, you need some consultants in to help you narrow some of those, the tangibles to things to say, hey, is this going to work? But we already have a lot of that knowledge right now. We know that in our area, drones, the agro sectors, the petrochemical sectors, they're all here right now. Why are we not talking to them and saying, what can we do to help you as an existing business? Because that's very important.
Retention.
The retention part, right? But, okay, I get it that you came here in 1970 something, but how can we get some of those partners that you work with every day to be considering, hey, maybe there's a complementary business or industry to this company. Well, how can we get them here? And we got to go more. I know this is the digital age, but we got to go more than just send an email and here's the web link. We actually have to pick up the phone and get on to the phone and conversation started with the decision makers. That's truly the important part.
Relationships. That's what business is all about.
Hey, it's the number one.
Yeah, like you say, you can't be in email or whatever, a letter, because they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But if you call them on a regular basis, you might make 10 calls and not get anything. But on the 11th call, or they might say, hey, I remember that guy was calling me from here. I'm going to give him a call and see what's up.
There's something that twigged in their memory to say, oh, yeah, I think Medicine Hat has something.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that floats around this empty space between my ears sometimes is I look at Lethbridge. I grew up in Lethbridge, and Lethbridge to me seemed to catch fire when they got a university. We have the Medicine Hat College. We have some education transfer programs to other universities. We're sending our kids out of the city, and a lot of times they don't come back. Do you think a university would be a good idea for Medicine Hat?
I think there's a lot of competition in the universities. I think that the college has some good plans in place, and they're progressing quite well. I think that the Medicine Hat College and looking at partnerships with the businesses that we do have here, and then looking at some of those industries that are considering Medicine Hat, if we can get those people talking to the Medicine Hat College and saying what kind of programs do they need so that we can help stimulate the workforce, the college is very capable. It's a good institution, and I think the people there are going to work towards working with the business community. So do we need a university? I don't think so, but I think we need to make sure that the programs at the college are what people want to take.
One of the challenges the next city council is going to have to face is what to do about the municipal controlled corporations, whether or not they're going to leave control, managing day-to-day operations of our utilities in the hands of the people who are elected, or push it to an arm's length corporation that will still answer to council, but they'll pretty well be the experts, so to speak. Your thoughts on that?
In its current form, the MCC is a bit challenging to get your head right around it. At the end of the day, I do believe that the city needs to keep control of it, make sure that the council does have some votings on it. I think we need skin in that game. Getting back to what the MCC is, I think there's at the startup of it, I think it needs to be a blend right now. I think we have city staff that are very capable. We should maybe make the task force kind of idea. So we have city staff. We bring in those experts. We pay them. If we need to be paying them, we need to pay them. You have some business leaders here in the city that can contribute good conversations to what we need here. We have some representation maybe by the resident taxpayer or payer of the utilities kind of idea, so that there's a good conversations on the whole front, and then that task force comes back and talks to the council, and then it's voted on. That way, everything is out in the open, and democracy takes its place. And then at the same time, we're developing a plan for not just today, but the future as well. Because I think that's been the problem, is everyone has been so caught up in the whirlwind of, we got to make this decision, and we didn't take time to, what's 5 years out, what's 10 years out. The energy business has become complex. It's not like it used to be, and it will never be. So there's a lot of things on the horizon, and we need to get that under control. And again, how do you say, get our house in order first so that we can make some of those decisions upon the future.
As a potential city councillor, do you feel confident in your abilities to handle all the technical stuff that comes with looking after your energy division?
I do have that confidence in me. I'll tell you right now, do I know everything ins and outs of the electrical business? But no, I do not. But I know that I have business sense, and I have the mindset where I've always, throughout my whole career, and I've been given a lot of problems. I work with businesses every day, and everyone gives me the problem, and so I have to come up with ideas of how to make this solution for them. So, or with them, I should say. But I'm that person. If I don't have those tools in my tool belt, maybe I can answer 50% or 80% of the reason why they should come to me is I know the people who can give me the tools so that I can ask those questions and do some partnerships and say, I'll take care of this part, you take care of that part. Again, let's get it from concept to commitment quicker.
Property taxes and utility rates are two things that have been featured prominently in the forums. People are saying, can't afford another property tax rate hike, can't afford to see my utilities go up. It affects homeowners, it affects business, it affects everybody in Medicine Hat. And yet you still have to pay the bills.
Yeah, the bills keep coming in on both sides, right? Again, getting back to if we start making some commitments to the economic growth, some of that will be, how do you say, taken care of by itself, because we're putting levers and pulleys in place to say, okay, if we switch this, it should trickle down to help alleviate some of those cost increase. Take it a little bit off the taxpayer, the residential taxpayer, put it back into, here's the industry coming, those taxes are coming to help our chauffeurs, right? So all that said, yeah, there is a commitment to make things affordable. We do know that a lot of people are they are struggling. So we need to get that addressed. We need to make sure that Medicine Hat has opportunities for those people and for everybody that needs to take part.
How do you feel about incentives being offered to businesses to come here?
I think that incentives are important. I'm the guy, I don't want to give it away for free kind of idea, because there's no value in free. It could lead to a slippery slope. So I do believe that, hey, if it costs this much, what can be done to help with those costs? It's about a solution. So, free isn't free.
No.
Kind of thing.
So maybe a way of, if you do this, then we'll do this.
Exactly.
So you create an incentive for the developer to get to that target,
Yeah.
to get the prize.
And it's not me shooting from the hip. It's we have to be informed. It's like when you develop a thing like the offsite levies or the in-builds, instead of the government just making these decisions and saying, oh yeah, this is a good thing and we're going to roll it out, there are those points when you kind of go and say, did anyone ask the business guy? Did anyone ask the developer that that's actually something that I can take part in? Or did we make it so complicated that I don't even know what that program is anymore? So let's pull it back. Let's simplify it and make sure that we're talking to those people. And Medicine Hat has all those entrepreneurs. We have those developers here, people with business sense, so that we can go to them and say, does this sound right? Does this make sense? Does this create an opportunity for you? We have some buildings that are derelict. So how do we get that? How do we get some growth happening?
Sounds like you're talking partnerships.
I'm not throwing it to the wayside. It's got to make sense, though, and you can make deals if it makes sense, right?
A lot of money has been spent on the Samus solar project so far. They're still in the process of deciding if they want to go further into this. Your thoughts?
So there's the two things. First off, this Samus solar project, in its current form, it does make me scratch my head. So we bought a license, or we bought a plan that now we're sending out, looking for the return on investment, but we bought it already. So we have this $100 million plan and we own the license, but we are now getting into, well, does this make sense? Do we get an ROI off of that? So I have a tough time with that. Looking at some of those kind of things, though, is there's conversations happening. Like right now, the Methanexes, the can carbs, that big industry, they're in support of that solar farm because they need it for some of their global corporation commitments that the corporation has put out there. So, okay, that's a good idea. Is that one of the reasons why future or new industry is not considering coming to Medicine Hat, because we don't have something like that to offer them? So, okay, well, there's an idea, right? So when I look at it, I go, I don't want to, is taking 100% of public tax money and funding it to build it, on behalf of the city of Medicine Hat, I'm not in favor of that, right? So I look at it and go, okay, if it's $100 million, why don't we go find four investors out there that, again, if it is proven to make ROI, let's go find four investors to give us $250 million, let them build it, and now what we could do as a city is collect the taxes off of it. Now we got money coming into our purse kind of idea. And again, there's that trickle-down effect, is that it could help some of those residents with those hefty utility bills or tax property bills, right? So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to say. We need smart decisions, and that's the focus. There was some comments made over the forum of, hey, that was a really bad decision that we made, and we learned from that. But it just keeps coming back every year after year. Oh yeah, we did that wrong. I guess we should learn from that. So I'm kind of hoping that, where's those people that said that they would learn from that? Where are they? And did we learn from it? Because we keep kind of getting ourselves caught into the shiny new thing, but not really thinking about the overall plan.
Another topic that was frequent in the forums was the issue of affordability, which might lead into homelessness, which might lead into crime. It was like a circle that was being described that people get into and then they can't get out of. And the Mustard Seed was going to look at building a facility up in the old Labor Hall.
Yeah,
like that's now
revitalizing.
That's now been pulled off the table, so we're kind of back into the beginning stage again. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay, so here's the thoughts on that. Is, as a city councilor, we know that a lot of this stuff is provincial issues. Mm-hmm. We know that it from federal has pushed down a lot to provincial. We know that provincial is pushing down a lot to municipal. So there are some solutions out there. Do I have them all? No. But I do think things where the city of Medicine Hat, what we can do quickly is make sure that everything is in place. So they've got the, I keep forgetting that there's a task force that they've just recently got together with, where there's some provincial representation, there's all the outreach groups and some community nonprofit groups getting together, and all those people are talking about, okay, here's the problem. There's some business people in there as well. Here's the problem. How do we deal with this? So they're going out to their provincial associations, their federal associations, and bringing back some ideas. Like Kelowna has some ideas about lighting and cameras, and there was some stuff coming in from Red Deer as well about how do we actually get down to help some of these people. And we have to realize that sometimes those people aren't ready to say, okay, I'm ready, I don't want to do this anymore. So we got to make sure that we're there for when that decision gets made. So by the city helping keeping those groups talking to each other, I think we need to promote as a city to make sure that those groups are sharing some funding to make the solution bigger and better. I think the city of Medicine Hat needs to be advocating to the provincial and federal governments to say, hey, we need you guys to get on board and help fund this. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes a community. Taking those resources, being on the front lines with them, and making sure that we're here and ready for hopefully before the crisis, but in case of that crisis, we're there.
The one thing that does seem to get forgotten when they talk about, help from federal government, help mm-hmm. from the provincial government, is that there's only one taxpayer, and that's you and me. So whether it comes out of this pocket or out of this pocket or my back pocket, it's still coming from me. And that's something that has to, I think, be part of the thought process.
Well, and that's the overall picture, right? Like, you have to get in on that. And where are those priorities? Where do we go from needs? Where do we go from wants? So Community is important, and it should every neighborhood in Medicine Hat should be safe. It should be respectful, and it should be welcoming to all that's there. So, yeah, there's definitely some, like I said before, there's definitely some hard decisions to make in the future, and we need some people there to understand a vision and make sure that we can help steer it.
Another group that is looking for money is the Medicine Hat Exhibition and Stampede Company. I know you've probably been following that fairly closely. Your thoughts on whether the city should be involved in that?
I think that there's some way more conversation to be happening there. At this point, I think it's gone back. There's been about 3 to 4 different plans being discussed. The provincial government is able to again help fund some of that, the funding for that project. The city is still looking at how that funding will work. I know some of the picture on that Stampede grounds, but I need to get in and see what the city's saying on it, because there's some things that aren't lining up there, and or for me, it's not lining up. So I really want to understand it before I come out and go, hey or nay, kind of thing.
You talk about needs and wants.
Mm-hmm.
One of the wants is a new Southside Recreation Center.
Mm-hmm.
That might help attract business to Medicine Hat because it's an amenity, but it's also a cost. Another difficult decision.
So it is that. Like when you look at, just kind of keep things simple to understand, there is a need for some updated facilities like skating rinks, swimming pools. We've got Crescent Heights swimming pool, I believe, has got a hole in it. So are we going to fix it, or
Dear Liza,
right? Or what are we going to do, right? So here we got $100 million, and just like at the budgets at your home, do I want to spend it on a swimming pool? Do I want to spend it on upgrades to the generators for our electrical generation? Do I want to spend it on a solar farm? There's many ways to spend that, and I'm not avoiding the question. I'm just saying, hey, we got to really make sure that maybe that is something that we can do, but I'm also about making things stable and the whole environment of, if you're worried about tax increases, like how are we going to fund that? And it's more than just building it, it's the maintenance and upkeep of it as well. So I'm not against it. We have to make sure that our finances can actually take that on
before we jump into the deep end.
Before we jump into the deep end, yes.
Yeah. One of the most valuable pieces of currency, and I've referred to this on some of our other podcasts right now, is that ballot box. Yeah. I have 8 votes for city council. Yeah. Why should I spend one on Stephen Pudwell?
Okay, so why you should spend one of those votes with Stephen Pudwell? I think the biggest thing is that I'm committed to hearing people and listening to people. That's part of how I think things through. I want those conversations. I like the problem solving, and I love coming up with the solution. And I know that I can do that. The community of Medicine Hat has been important to me all my life here. That's why I lived here and I chose to stay here. I know that I can represent the best for the city as a whole. One of the Kinsmen group taught me a great motto, and serving the community's greatest needs. And I know that I can do that. I have business experience. I've made those tough decisions when, hey, this isn't working. I got to cut bait kind of idea. Or, hey, this is working. Let's build on this. And I've also made those connections with the portion of the community that does need some help. And the Kinsmen group has given me some of those insights and where we can prop people up and help, right? So I know that I'm that all-rounded person to make those decisions.
Stephen Pudwell, candidate for Medicine Hat City Council on October 20th. Stephen, thank you for your visit.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome.